Are you ready for our dessert pizza? Well, let's get into it. It's gonna be our fried berry pizza. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a peek at our dough here. I got it rolled out already. You always wanna have a nice floured surface because we wanna prevent sticking as much as we can. Sticking can really mess things up. So we have the flour dusted on the bottom, a little bit on top, and we're gonna let it hold right there and be used later. So what we're gonna move on to next is gonna be our creme anglaise sauce. That's gonna be our base when we put it on top of that pizza. So let's get that going. And we're gonna use one of our nice rums that we have. Is gonna be a dark rum. The dark rum is gonna create a bit of sweetness once it's flamed off. So let's get that going. We're just gonna pour this into it, and do generous, don't be scared, because we wanna get that flavor going. So we're gonna turn up our burner a bit, and we're gonna wanna bring that to a little simmer. So what we have here is 4 egg yolks. So what we do is we separate the egg whites from the yolks. We have our egg yolks here, and we mix those up. So let's get this into this bowl. Get it going. And get as much as you can. You're not gonna get it perfect. Get as much as you can. Then we have about 1 cup of sugar. Any sugar you have, granulated, dark brown sugar, that's fine. So as we're mixing, we're gonna have our sugar put in, and it's gonna thicken up a bit. So what's gonna happen with the egg yolk is gonna start to get these little, it has a tendency that it wants to clump up. That's okay, don't stress about it. Just get it as incorporated as you can. So you see there, starts getting smooth. It's coming together. There we go. And that's what we want. Nice and easy. But we'll put these off to the side now. And what we have that's gonna pair with the other half that we just made. I'm gonna put this rum to the side. We have here 1/2 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of heavy cream. We're gonna have a little bit of vanilla extract poured inside of this. I like to do 2 capfuls. I don't get too crazy about the measurements, but just for folks that may need it, just 2 capfuls. All right, there we go. So we have that in a separate pan here. And let's give our attention back to our rum. So we see, oh, this is smelling great. This is what I'm talking about. We get everything flaming off, but then you get the sweetness, the aroma that we're looking for to pair to make this creme anglaise. I'm just gonna stir that around a little bit. And we're gonna pour this right in gently. Nice and gentle. There we go. So we notice the color. It's not gonna be a straight, creamy off-white. We're not gonna have that. It's gonna start developing a little bit of a caramel type color. And that's what we want. So we just stir a little more. I'm gonna throw 1 of these slivers of butter in. I always like to have the butter soften a little bit. That way it's not, clumping and things like that inside of our liquid. Okay, so this is where, for me, even though I'm of Jamaican roots and I love cooking Caribbean food, I'm classically trained as well in French and Italian cuisines. And this is where having the technique really comes into play. What we're gonna do here is when this mixture gets to a boil again, a high simmer, we're gonna combine that with our egg yolk and sugar mixture. Well, why? Because we don't want the yolk to clump up, and it doesn't work too well. So we're gonna have it off the heat when we combine the two. And this is about the time now we can add the other sliver of butter. So we start with, and we finish with our cream mixture with butter, and constantly stir. We don't want any of this to fit here and stay and get burnt. We don't want that. All right, so we're at a rolling boil. This is where we turn down our heat. The reason why we turn it down, one, it doesn't keep that maintained, and when we put this mixture back on the pan, we want to make sure that it's It's not going too fast for it, where the egg yolks would clump up. Okay, so here's our next step. We have a cold mixture of our egg yolks. Okay, and then we have our hot mixture. So I'm gonna gently try to keep it going here. And I'm gonna do a little at a time, so that way it thins out where my bowl is not moving crazy everywhere. So it's a gentle approach we have. So we mix, and now you'll notice that these egg yolks are loosening up a little bit. That sugar likes to kind of keep everything combined. So now I'm able to really, so now we see here, we just take it slow. Keep whisking nice and fast. We gently pour in our cream mixture. What's gonna happen when we put this back on the burner? The sugars are gonna caramelize, it's gonna thicken up. Our egg yolks are our binder, and that's gonna thicken up as well. And that's where that sauce really, really starts to shine. So we don't wanna get rid of our initial pan yet. We're gonna need that. But you notice now, this sauce is pretty liquidy. It's not super thick or anything, but we're gonna get it to be thick now. So let's get this back on the burner. Now this has cooled down a little bit. Let's get it back. And now it has a velvety, nice velvety color. That's what we're looking for. And this velvety color starts coming from this dark rum as well. All right, we're gonna pour that in. And then we stir. We're gonna turn this up, get this back to a bit of a boil. We're gonna have it simmer down, thicken up, and when we come back, we're gonna see what the end result is for our crème anglaise sauce. All right, so our sauce has been thickening up, and it's just a beautiful creation going on here. It's thickened, it's on that rolling simmer. So we're gonna now turn this off because it's thickened to where we wanted it, and let's see what our consistency is, right? So you see that just nicely runs off the spoon. It coats it, that's exactly what we want. So we're gonna turn off this little burner here. We're good, get it off the flame. We don't want that to accidentally burn. What we're gonna do, we're gonna transfer it to a different pan. And you see we have a strainer here. The reason for this, why we do this, is any sauce, we want it to be as pure as possible. So we're gonna just try to get this poured in nice and safely. Just wrap my little thing around. Here we go. And I'm gonna pour right into the strainer. We wanna get any impurities out. You see that? It's just a nice steady stream. That's what we want. All right, let's get this sitting on the side here. That's fine. And then what we do here, we pick up our strainer and just make sure catch any impurities. We just whisk it around. And thankfully, we did our sauce pretty well where there's very minimal impurities in there. So you see, we caught what we needed. That's all we need to do. So that's complete. We'll get this moved over to our station where we're gonna continue building our pizza. All right? And we'll remember our spoon here. Okay, our next step is gonna be our dough. You'll notice that this pan has been on a low heat for some time. So we just turned this up. This is just nice fry oil we have here. So we're gonna get it to where it's a little smoky because we don't want it to just have our dough sitting in. Something of a test, I like to throw a little flour in and it immediately disintegrates. That's what we're looking for. As previously noted, we have our dough already rolled out for us. So just in case it did stick with all the flour prep we did, well, I just have a little dough scraper. But it looks pretty good. It's not too sticky and it's moving around nicely. So what we're gonna do, we have some tongs. And what we wanna do, we wanna pick this up and we wanna lay this away from us so we do not get burnt. You see how the oil kind of dripped over? We wanna always protect yourself. And you see it puffs up a little. That's good stuff. So I'm just kind of putting little holes in it to make sure that all the oil gets right in there. And all of us love carnivals. All of us loves those kind of things. So this is just a remix version of that, so to speak. Okay. And so what we're looking for is a nice golden brown on the bottom, and it looks like we've got it. So we're gonna turn it over. Same thing. We keep it away from us to protect us from getting burnt. Let it do what it has to do there. Gets a little messy. You see the oil spattering. That's good though. We know that it's working. So let's check the bottom. All right, this bottom looks beautiful. So we can turn off this heat. We're done with it. And you see how that is? Beautiful. We got a nice golden brown, both sides. That's what we're looking for. And we just want to get this off the heat. That's all we want to do there. Okay, remember that sauce we just did? This beautiful velvety sauce is ready for us. So we had our rum simmered down. We had our heavy cream, our milk, a little bit of vanilla, a little butter. That was our mixture. So we're gonna pour this gently on top. And we want that to really get into the center, because when this glazes inside the oven, oh my, it just combines beautifully with everything else you have. All right, there we go. And then you'll notice this berry mixture. We have strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and I put a little salt in there. You'll notice, not salt, sorry, actually a bit of sugar. Why we do that is to get as much of the juices out of the fruit as we can. So we got the juices out of it. Now on top of our creme anglaise sauce, we're gonna layer on our fruit. And be generous with it like we have been with all of our pizzas. Just keep it generous. Your guests will thank you, and your family too. Beautiful. What we're gonna do, so everything combines together, we're gonna get this into the oven. And that's gonna take about 5 minutes, and we'll come back when that's ready. All right, so our berry pizza is ready. So let's get our little dry rag or a hot mitt, and we're gonna get this out. Here we go. Beautiful. So here's this ready here. Just gonna make sure it didn't stick, which it didn't, so that's beautiful. So we just get that on the plate. And now we notice here, everything has crisped up nicely. Our creme anglaise has moved into the dough, and our berries are getting that nice texture and color we want. So the next step we're gonna do, we're gonna add a bit of pomegranate balsamic vinegar. Now that pomegranate has been infused, it's been sitting there. It adds a nice complement to each of those berries. It gives a different element each time. So we're gonna pour that into our little ramekin here. And so this is nice and thick. It has a good sweetness to it, a little bit of tart. And then get that poured in, because then we're gonna drizzle that over our pizza. So we'll slide this over. We'll drizzle that on. And again, just be generous with it all. Splashing is allowed. Here we go. So we want that all to soak in. We get all the flavors going. Then from there, we're gonna finish off with a little bit of powdered sugar. Here we go. We're gonna finish with our whipped cream in the center. And a little dash, a little more of our vinegar. There we go. And so we have our pizza here, but then we don't want to waste this amazing sauce that we just made. So we're gonna pour this in on the side. Here we go. Sometimes it runs a little, and that's great, that works. We'll let that sit. And this way, you have a nice dipping sauce to have with your fried berry pizza. I hope you enjoy that.